All right. Let's just go. There we go. We're golden now, baby. We're golden now. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. I got this working. We got, watch what's going to happen now. When I press this button, boom, we got video. Plug in died, people. Plug in died. I got it working though. I got it working. It's working. So, welcome to the party. It's your boy Mountain. We're back again for another day of Path of Exile, or pretty much Path of Exile, looking at the tutorial, not tutorial, reveal, and all the other stuff. I have not seen anything. I mean, I'm talking about I'm going into this blind. We're gonna look at this and we're gonna see exactly what people have been saying and stuff like that afterwards. But right now, we just gonna go with this is brand new to me. Hold up. Let me get back up here. Oh, come on. I screwed up there. Come on, screw that back up. So this is brand new to me. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go through this at the exact same time. I gotta tell Gankenstein I'm back online because he was like, what happened? I was like, I am back online, sir. Video restored. There we go. So let me make sure. Oh, I gotta do. Let me do this real quick. I gotta send this out to everybody and let them know about that. A nice announcement at everyone. Sorry for the misstart. I had streaming rig issues. Video is now working. Welcome back to the party. I never kicked you out. There we go. Now everybody got a little list and everything that are all the cool things. Okay, so let me turn off the music and everything like that because I know they probably got music and everything like that built into this this video. Don't they have music in the video? Either way it goes, let's go ahead and let's start looking. Content review.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Welcome to GGG Live. Well, it's been a little...
Hold up. I think I'm getting double. Hold up a second. There's double audio coming.
A little over 3 months since we launched early access. So it's...
Yes, there is a double audio. I know how to fix this. This is what happens when you get a... let's see here. I think I know how to fix this. I think that's how I fix it. Let me verify. So the mic comes from here. That's not a problem. And let's hit play and see what happens.
It's about time for our first major content update.
Today,
we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, which launches on April 4th. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so make sure you follow the instructions below in order to claim your Executioner's Guillotine finisher effect. Now in today's stream, we're going to take you on a deep dive into the new Dawn of the Hunt update. We'll cover a new class, 5 new Ascendancy classes, and huge expansions on character systems like unique items.
Hold up, 5 new Ascendancy classes. So that means they're gonna give us the Necromancer for the Witch, or they no, because Witch has 2. Yeah, they gave 2. So everybody had 2 initially. So they're gonna add the next one to them, so that everybody gets say 3, and then they're gonna add in that new class. That works for me. I like that.
And support gems. After that, it's on to the in-game improvements, including changes to systems, a bunch of new encounters, and lots of other content. We're going to finish up today with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat. Now we have a lot to cover today, so let's get started with a trailer for Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt.
Okay, let's look at the trailer.
We as Mary are guided by the Spirit. It provides prey, shelter, even love. But for me, one day, all that were changed. The Spirit, it showed me something. Something forbidden. And to defend all I loved, I used it. I lost everything that day. But fate weren't finished with me yet. I'll right the wrongs I've done. I'll do what I must, no matter the cost.
Ooh.
I will hear the Spirit once more.
That lady's crazy. Ooh, I like that. Oh, we got a mount? "25 new skills" as Mary Wisps. Yes, this is the first time me watching this.
I shall pay.
Rogue Exiles have been added. Support gem. Why you gonna add so many support gems? We can barely get the ones we've got working. No ascensions, new in-game mechanics, new maps. Okay, all right, that works. I like this. I like this. That is nice. Definitely something that we need to take into account. This is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be awesome.
Now, as you can see, in Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the first new class since early access to PoE 2, the Huntress. The Huntress is a spear-wielding Asmeri warrior. Born into a society with strict traditions, she was exiled from her homeland after using the power of a skill gem to defend her village.
Oh, so
As a
hold
dexterous
up,
spear
hold
user,
up.
she specializes in both...
So, hold up. So, from what I just heard, this is what I just heard. Skill gems are forbidden. We've been using skill gems from PoE 1 all the way through, no problem. They just told me skill gems is forbidden magic. Is that for her tribe, or is that supposed to be forbidden magic throughout the world, and we just have been using it for no problem, with no reason? Good story.
melee and ranged combat, dashing into and out of battle. Spears have extended range and a short dash, but unlike other melee weapons, you can also throw them. In order to make a hybrid ranged and melee character work, we had to do a lot of thinking about ways to make it fun to both enter and exit melee range. The first skill you will get as a Huntress is Whirling Slash. As well as striking in a circle around you, this skill creates a whirlwind that blinds your enemies. Leaving the whirlwind will make it explode.
Okay. You know that's it right there. They call it Whirling Lash, but that's Blade Storm, people. And we know I love Blade Storm. Huntress, whirling blade configuration, right there. That's the first selection. Mark my words, I will be playing one like that.
The more Whirling Slashes used, the bigger the whirlwind, and the bigger the explosion. Once you're out of there, you'll want to follow up with something ranged. Whip your spear around to shoot twisters towards your foes. These twisters bounce off walls and can hit enemies multiple times. You can also throw twisters inside a whirlwind to shoot out extra tornadoes that do way more damage. In her offhand, the Huntress will usually want to hold a buckler, which allows you to do a new skill, parry. While holding down parry, your character will counterattack any incoming attack from monsters near you, stunning them. In addition, the monsters will take extra attack damage from your follow-up strike. Some specific skills are designed to be used after a parry and have extra
Okay.
effects. Disengage is a
So I got a question on that. Did y'all see that? I got questions. Okay, so
These twisters bounce off walls and can hit enemies
this is
multiple
a
times.
question. It makes me
You can
think,
also throw twisters inside a whirlwind to shoot out extra tornadoes that do way more damage.
or I'm overthinking.
In
This-
her offhand,
watch
the
this.
Huntress will usually
Parry.
want to hold a buckler,
Watch the
which
parry
allows you
thing.
to do a new skill, parry. While holding down parry, your character will counterattack.
Stop. You see where this dot is, right? When they do the parry, when she did the parry the first time, the dot was on the other side. Now the dot's on this side. So my question is there a combo power that you would use for, like, use parry, boom, and then if you attack the side that dot is on, or attack the creature where the dot is, will they take more damage or extra damage? Because there's no reason for the dot to change sides and stuff like that without some
Any
mechanic
incoming
behind it,
attack
right?
from monsters near you, stunning them. In addition, the monsters will take extra attack damage from your follow-up strike.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just watching it for the first time, so spoilers can actually make me feel kind of bad, but also at the same time, I'm kind of enjoying speculating. So it depends on if you want to spoil my happiness or not.
Some specific skills are designed to be used after a parry and have extra effects. Disengage is a skill that does a quick jump back, damaging enemies in front of you, and it can be used to interrupt other actions, like dodge roll. If you use it against a parried enemy though, it causes an explosion and gives you a frenzy charge. Just be careful. If you parry too much, you're going to get stunned and possibly killed. You can combine this combo with Whirling Slash. Slash, parry, disengage, and you'll get an explosion from the disengage and the Whirling Slash. The Huntress also has a variety of elemental spear throw attacks. You could use Lightning Spear to bounce lightning between your foes. Or you could throw explosive spears into the ground. These spears take a while to detonate, but when they do, they'll incinerate anyone caught in the blast. All spear throws on the Huntress can also be empowered by frenzy charges. For example, explosive spears will do an even larger explosion and leave fire on the ground. And these empowered versions can activate even more combos. Using Whirling Slash over ground fire will suck it into the whirlwind, adding fire to the explosion.
Oh, nice.
Using twisters inside a fire whirlwind will shoot out fire tornadoes as well. And you can do similar combos with ice and lightning too.
Oh, that's
Now,
gonna
a
be
key
interesting.
aspect of hunting is exhausting your foes by causing blood loss. This skill is Rake, which dashes towards your target and unleashes a deadly slash, opening up wounds on your enemies.
I don't know if I really
Follow
want to
up,
be running that.
disengage, and watch them bleed out as they run towards you. On the health bar of monsters, you can see how much blood loss the enemy has experienced, and the Huntress has skills to take advantage of this. For example, using Blood Hunt will thrust forward and cause a bloody explosion. The more blood loss, the bigger the explosion. If you want to cause bigger bleeds, try out Rapid Assault. The final hit of this multi-hit combo will stick a spear into your enemy for a big bleed. Now, Explosive Spear and Rapid Assault both result in leaving spears behind, either in the ground or in enemies. But there are other skills that leave spears around too, like Storm Lance, that leaves an electrical spear that arcs towards enemies. But what can you do with all these spears? Detonate them, of course. Thunderous Leap will allow you to jump onto and explode any spears either in the ground or in your enemies.
That's actually
Now,
good.
as well as hunting animals, the Huntress also has the ability to work with them. While fighting any beast, you have the ability to tame it and use it as a companion. You can only have one companion at a time, but it will keep the mods that were on it. Try to find a rare beast with good mods to take full advantage of your ability to tame them.
Okay. All right. That's the coolest. That's the coolest. That is awesome. So, what? Okay. How long will that stay? Well, that's a good question. How long will it stay? Will it be with me when I move from map to map, or will it drop off? That might be the coolest thing ever. If it drops off, it's okay. But if it doesn't drop off, oh man, you juice up a map, like, because they said rares, right? So you juice up a map with what you want to call it? Can't think of the name of it. Essence. You do essences, you juice that sucker up, you get as many mods on it as you can, you kill it, and then it's gonna keep those mods. Oh, that's gonna be beautiful.
This is just the beginning of the Huntress. We've really tried to make the hybrid ranged and melee gameplay work for this class by having a huge amount of synergy between ranged and melee options. There are 22 new skills available for the Huntress. By endgame, you'll be slinging hundreds of insanely powerful spears, sending forth spirit animals and summoning the might of Solaris from the sky. But we still haven't talked about ascendancy classes yet. What can the Huntress ascend into? Well, the first ascension class you could choose is the Ritualist. The Ritualist has embraced the darker side of his merry traditions by harnessing the power of animal sacrifice and plague. The Corrupted Life Force skill causes all enemies around you to grow volatile blood boils on their skin. When those enemies are slain, the boils will burst, spreading corrupted blood to all enemies around them.
Oh, that's nice.
The Ritualist also excels in taking advantage of magical trinkets. The Unfurled Finger skill allows you to equip an additional ring on a finger around your neck. Taking Mystic Attunement increases the bonuses of all the rings and amulets you have equipped. Now, this is one of my favorites. As the Whispers Ask grants you a new skill, Ritual Sacrifice. Use the skill on the corpses of slain rare monsters to absorb the power in their blood to give you one of their modifiers for a short time. Specialize further into Ritualistic Sacrifice with As the Whispers Demand, which allows you to perform that skill on yourself instead of a corpse. Cut your own hand, sacrificing some of your own blood to empower yourself.
Okay.
The Amazon Ascension is for those looking to hunt more than just beasts. Trained as an elite guard to the most important Asmeri elders, the Amazon will use more traditional fighting techniques mastered to perfection. The Predatory Instinct skill will cause you to reveal weaknesses in the defenses of rare and unique enemies, causing you to deal more damage. You can see those weak spots represented on their life bars. While using Elemental Infusion, any charges you consume will infuse your weapon with elemental power, causing any projectile attacks to explode on impact. The Critical Strike skill is as simple as it sounds. It takes your excess accuracy and gives it to you as critical strike chance. Additionally, you have skills like Mystic Harvest, which allows your elemental damage to leech life, and Asmeri Brew to be able to use either flask to restore both life and mana. So those are the two new ascendancies for the Huntress. But those are not the only ascendancies in Dawn of the Hunt. We've added a new ascension class for 3 of the other existing classes too.
Oh, okay. I got a question. This is just me. I'm just wondering, is this guy too happy? Is he way too happy? Because he just looks like he's way happy. And I'm just looking at this, and it just looks like he's happy. Or is it just me that I'm so happy that I'm seeing him and I'm just like, this guy looked like it looked like he turned his head a little bit. He's like right here. It's like, watch. When he sits there and he talks about we got some more ascendancies, and he turns his head. I'm too happy.
Those aren't the only ascendancies in Dawn of the Hunt. We've added a new ascension class for 3 of the other existing classes too. First up, for our warriors out there, we have the Smith of Katava. The warrior is a blacksmith in origin, taught by his father Renly. With this ascension, you can take your smithing skills to new heights by embracing power from the insatiable one himself, Kitava. Smiths of Katava are master blacksmiths and have the ability to forge their weapon, quite literally.
Really?
Using the Against the Anvil notable skill, you can enhance your weapon with fiery destruction before any battle. After doing so, your attacks will release explosions on hit for maximum devastation. You can also use the power of Kitava to summon an animated copy of your weapon to fight alongside you.
That's
A great
interesting.
blacksmith can do more than just forging their weapon, though. Their armor can be enhanced too. Now, you might think this Ascendancy class tree looks a little abnormal, and you're right. There's a lot of notable skills all disconnected at the bottom there. By taking this point here, which is free to assign, your character is unable to equip body armors with mods of any kind. So your body armor must be normal. Sounds like a downside, right? Except now in true blacksmith fashion, you get to craft your own body armor by taking those disconnected notables with your points. If you want your body armor to grant life, take this notable. If you want resistances, take this one. There's so many choices. Think of it
That's
like
nice.
you're crafting your own body armor, just in a
75%?
more literal sense. Now, let's move on to those who prefer the reassuring feel of a crossbow in their hands, the Mercenary. Alongside the existing Ascension classes, the Gemling Legionnaire and the Witch Hunter, you can now play as the Tactician. The Tactician is a
Okay.
former Blackguard elite. Free from the duties of a Blackguard, he is able to use his training to decimate the monsters of Rayclast and earn a healthy income doing so. This training comes in the form of various skills like suppressing fire, which causes all projectiles to pin enemies. When
That's
combined
nice.
with the right where we want them notable, your pin not only stops your enemies from moving, but stops them from performing actions too, similar to freeze. With a soldier's training, the Tactician also works well cooperatively. Using the whoever pays best notable, you can place multiple banners at once. The watch how we do it skill gives a portion of your weapon's damage to your allies as well. But if that isn't enough, you can also command your army of off-screen archers to unleash hell and carpet an entire area with arrows. Finally, witch players will be able to join their legions by becoming undead themselves. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the Lich Ascension class.
Lich.
The Lich is a master of chaos and curses and could sacrifice her life to enhance her energy shield. The Crystalline Phylactery skill allows you to nominate a jewel in which to contain part of your soul, massively increasing its power. There's just one downside to splitting your soul this way though. If you have no energy shield, your mana costs will shoot up. The Necromantic Conduit skill causes you and allies in your presence to have unholy might, granting extra damage as chaos damage. Rupture the Soul makes enemies you curse explode with chaos damage when slain. Dominion over Flesh allows you to apply an additional curse. It's safe to say you'll be the true master of the occult by choosing the Lich class. So Dawn of the Hunt has the Huntress and 5 new Ascension classes, but it doesn't end there. Let's take a look at some of the new
Lich
skills.
class.
Now you may remember we previously talked about the Raised Spectre skill. It's finally complete, and it will be made available in the upcoming expansion. It can be found in the occult skills on the skill gem crafting panel. Raised Spectre is a skill that allows you to trap the soul of almost any monster in the game, which you can then summon in the skill panel. Spectres cost spirit and will revive automatically if they die, but the spirit cost varies based on the power of the monster. You could summon an army of weaker monsters, or a few of the more powerful monsters. You can combine them with your existing skeleton minions, or summon exclusively specters. It's all up to you and how you want to customize your army of the undead. Given that there are hundreds upon hundreds of monster variants in Path of Exile 2, it's safe to say you'll be experimenting with this one for a while. We look forward to seeing which monsters serve you best.
Okay.
Now let's move on to our next skill. Since we've been talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding the Summon Rower skill. Summon your friendly rower to aid you in combat as a minion. You can also mount your rower in combat at any time, allowing you to move at full speed even while shooting arrows or throwing spears. Be wary though, if you take too much damage
Yes, I
while
can
riding your mount, you
rewind.
can be
Hold
knocked
for a
off and
second.
get overwhelmed.
Okay, what did you want me to rewind? You want to see specters again? What level did it require for which? The specters or the rower? The rower skill. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the rower skill.
Talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're
That looked like it looked like 13. Looked like 13. No, 14. Sorry. 10, 5, 1 extra. Yeah, 14. So it's 14. Hold on for a second. And it works with spears. Yes, yes, it does. Give me 2 seconds. My mic was triggering from my wife talking, but that's okay. We got this. We got this. So, yeah, it works with spears.
We're adding the Summon Rower skill. Summon your friendly rower to aid you in combat as a minion. You can also mount your rower in combat at any time, allowing you to move at full speed even while shooting arrows or throwing spears.
Said shooting arrows or throwing spears. So I'm thinking it can be used with bows as well.
Be wary though, if you take too much damage while riding your mount, you can be knocked off and get overwhelmed. It's worth keeping an eye on your stagger bar, as falling off the mount can mean almost certain death. On the topic of new ways to enhance your character, let's talk about support gems. Support gems are used to modify your skill gems in meaningful and interesting ways. Currently, we feel that a lot of builds have insufficient options here. To alleviate this, we're adding over 100 new support gems. Hema crystals will enable a new kind of bleed build, turning the damage over time you would have done into explosive Vile crystals.
Now that's nice.
Alignment is a support gem for bow attacks, which can reward skilled players with good positional skills. Caltrops will allow you to litter the battlefield with hazards, slowing your foes as you fling spears through their ranks. But there's plenty more for every playstyle, such as Enormity, Unsteady Tempo,
Hold up. Unsteady tempo. First attack in sequence supported by Flex Hobble. Second attack get chance for critical, and third attack support deals 20% more damage.
Profanity,
On use, if possible, supported skills deal 30% more chaos damage if it's consuming a corpse. Can I use that on hold up. Consume a corpse within 5 meters on use, if possible. Supported skills deal 30% more damage. Does it say you can't use that for a minion? Hold up. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. So you remember Unearth, right? And you got Unearth, and as long as you use Contagion to pull up and use Unearth over the corpse that actually had Contagion, those Unearths minions get chaos damage. Tie that to this. Well, see, that's the question: is how long will it last? Will it last as long as that? Because the contagion, will it last as long as the minion lasts? Because you got to remember that those minions, you use it, and when you use it, the minion comes up. Yeah, so there's no duration on it, but there will be a duration on the minion. That's triggered skills. Cannot support triggered skills or reservation skills. So yeah, I should be able to throw that on like summon, like Unearth. And then I got a question also. You remember the Lich ascendancy? Your minions do chaos damage, and so if I'm summoning things that are like zombies that use corpses to create the zombie. Nah, not all of them. Not all of them. You have zombies which use corpses, and you have Unearthed that use corpses. And so what I'm wondering is if I use this with Unearth, and I'm using the contagion type curse thing to make them do chaos damage, would that be good? And then would I with the Lich, would I even need that? Because as soon as I unearth things, the minions should actually do chaos damage. So as long as I'm doing unearth and it's consuming a corpse to make it, that's a 30% increase in damage for chaos. Oh, this is going to be beautiful.
Retaliate. Syzygy. Yep, that's a real word. And many more. Now, we've talked about a new class, new ascendancy classes, new skills, and new support gems. But let's not forget about the core of a true action RPG, the items. To start with, let's talk about
Out of water.
uniques. We're adding over 100 new unique items.
Oh, yeah.
This time, we've made sure to add uniques with a focus on mid and in-game tiers to make sure there are more exciting items to find for higher level characters. Let's look at some
Uniques.
examples. Embrace
things
your
we
inner
don't get.
devil with Chernobog's Pillar. It grants you a large amount of fire damage based on your block chance.
Okay.
The Coming Calamity allows you to become a true master of the elements, granting you all
Hold
three.
up. Hold up. That, I got to get it. I got to get it. I have to get that. Grants Herald of Ash, Ice, and Thunder. That's nice.
Elemental Herald skills without costing any spirit. At the same time,
Oh my God, he just said it costs no spirit. Oh, and they have 0 reservation costs. Yes!
it penalizes enemy resistances. Waste Gate is a belt useful for builds using a single resource like Blood Magic or Archmage builds. With this belt, you can use 2 life flasks or 2 mana flasks. It's up to you.
Ooh. This is strong. This is, oh, sorry. I gotta give this one. This belt is strong. Oh, got an ad. Okay, wait for the ad. Sorry. Ads. We got 50 seconds till my ads are over. Wee. Okay. Come on. I gotta get through these ads. Okay, so 20 seconds. 20 seconds. There we go. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Oh, it's gonna be over in a second. Guys. All right, ads are gone. This is awesome. I love this. Oh, you were debating on subbing again? Well, if you sub, I will thank you for the sub. But I'm waiting to hear more about your plan on streaming the new league. Okay, so my plan on streaming the new league is I will stream the new league, but I will play Last Epoch when it comes out. Last Epoch looked like it was going to be great. And they kind of screwed me. LE was looking really good, and they screwed. See, now if they would have put out this behind LE, I'll probably be playing it a lot longer than what I would be playing, because LE is going to be behind it. Oh, it kind of pisses me off a little bit, because I know I'm not going to get everything I want. So, but either way it goes, this is going to be an awesome little thing. And the reason why is because of the following. When I was running my I forgot what the name of the character is. It's a witch, it's a infernal witch, infernalist, whatever you want to call it, whatever the one is with fire. I went the path where I was trying to do ignites and stuff like that. One of the thing, what do you mean I'm gross? Why am I gross? What did I do? But one of the things that I did was I didn't have mana anymore. I was using that lava thing. So I was like, oh, I only got one mana flask. I mean, one life flask. That kind of sucks. You know, I want two. And so I couldn't do anything. It was like, here you go. You get to use the one flask. So this will be cool. This will be cool because then I can throw two flasks in there and have two life flasks and just deal with the fire. That would be awesome.
With this belt, you can use 2 life flasks or 2 mana flasks. It's up to you. Now, we could go through these all day, but we'll leave most of them for you to discover. Suffice to say, though, we want there to be way more cool things to find. Over time, our goal is to add a unique to every single base item type at a minimum, so that you can chance any base in the game. Now, given that we have the Huntress, we have a set of unique spares from early game all the way through the end game as well. One example is Scyther's Spear, which combines bleed and fire in a powerful way. It allows your ignites to be aggravated, dealing substantially more damage. We're also introducing a suite of unique bucklers with some interesting parry mechanics. Calgyra's Arc, for example, allows you to parry projectiles from any distance. And we're also adding
infinite projectile range, 50% increased parry, debuff duration. Okay.
Our first unique charms. Bayra's Anguish will not only protect you from Ignite, but will also emit a devastating Fire Nova whenever you do get ignited. In sum, there's just a ton of new uniques to find. We can't wait to see the weird and broken builds that come out of it. Now, we also want to talk about crafting options. In each major update during early access, we'll be continuing to add and improve the options here. We have various new crafting tools that have been added as rewards to many of the different types of new content that we're adding. But for now, I just want to mention the changes to runes. Runes add commonly available mods, but since they only have one tier, flat damage mods tend to get outclassed by endgame. So we've changed runes to have multiple tiers, allowing you to get higher tier mods than before.
That's actually good.
Our plan is to significantly expand the number of more specialized mods for crafting using sock.
Hey, that's really good in some aspects because didn't they make it so that you can overwrite a rune? You don't have to keep the same rune in a piece of gear. You can actually get rid of the rune and put a different. So that's actually pretty good because you could just, I've got a little crappy rune. I got a terrible rune, and then you're going up and you level and you find a better one. You put it in, and it's better than the one you got. You know, it does more damage or whatever it is. That's actually pretty cool.
Pocketables as we add new content over time, and the first new set of those comes from what we're talking about next. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding Asmerian Wisps, which can be found throughout both the campaign and the endgame.
I don't know if I like that.
The Asmeri spirit has made itself present in Rayclast, and it appears.
So hold up. Does that mean that we're gonna have all those wisps where you go down in a thing? No. Hold up. Let's look at
to
this.
be trying to warn, or maybe prepare us for the coming darkness. You will first encounter a manifestation of it in the Grellwood in Act 1, where you'll meet Delwyn, an Asmeri hunter who is trying to find out what exactly is causing the spirit to behave this way. As you approach the wisp, it will flee, leading you past monsters. Any monsters it comes into contact with are infused by it, making them more powerful. Each spirit is associated with a specific revered animal within Asmeri culture. This one is a wisp of the Great Bear, and grants enemies extra life and stun. The wisp moves faster the closer you are, and as you move away, they slow down to wait for you. But if you get too far away for too long, they'll dissipate and return to the woods. As you continue to chase the wisp, it will find and possess a rare or unique monster, granting it a new powerful ability. Because this was a wisp of the Great Bear, this monster now also has increased life and stun. But on top of that, it will periodically summon a large spectral bear that slams with wild fury. If you're able to defeat this foe, you will be rewarded. For each monster that was infused and killed along the way, the rewards will be increased. Each wisp has its own mechanics. The Wisp of the Winter Owl is a primal wisp that causes enemies to deal extra cold damage, gain energy shield, and release wind vortices on death. When infusing a monster, they will call down large tornadoes to protect their host. The Wisp of the Wild Cat is a vivid wisp that causes affected monsters to deal more critical strikes and become more evasive. When it infuses a monster, it will summon a barrage of feline spirits that will attempt to tear you limb from limb. If you're lucky, you may even find sacred wisps that can do some pretty crazy things to the monsters they influence. Like the Wisp of the Cunning Fox, which turns normal monsters into magics, magic monsters into rares, and rare monsters into actual bosses.
I don't know if I like that.
Asmarian Wisps can drop a new set of socketable items that allow you to craft a wide range of interesting new mods onto your items. Each one may only be used on a specific item slot.
Okay.
As mentioned, the Asmarian Wisps can be encountered throughout the game, but there's also a new endgame map called the Asmari Ranges, a mountain village where the Asmari once lived, now overrun with corrupt monsters. This map always has multiple Asmarian Wisps in it, and familiar, yet not quite the same boss fight. Asmarian Wisps can also be further modified by the endgame Atlas tree as well, and by tablets.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be the one talking about those things. In order to cover all the new content in endgame, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. There's a ton to talk about with the endgame today, so let's dig right in. Path of Exile 2's early access began with a brand new endgame, and it was clear that it needed a lot of work.
Oh yeah,
After absorbing your feedback, we're ready to make some epic changes. The first thing is, we just need a lot more content. In Dawn of the Hunt, we have made sure to focus on increasing the sheer number of interesting and different encounters you will randomly stumble into as you explore the endgame. And the second goal is to smoothen the progression through maps and reduce the amount of annoying busy work. To start with, let's talk about the new interesting stuff to find. Well, the most obvious thing to add are new maps. As well as the Asmari Ranges that Jonathan mentioned earlier, Dawn of the Hunt also contains 7 other new maps, all with their own custom encounters. Let's start with this one.
The Feral Megaliths map starts off in the wild Ezomite forests. As you progress through the forest, you will find mysterious rune-carved stones that, when touched, surge with energy. After activating all the stones, you can find a grand henge, where all the energy is coalescing. You can then start an encounter. The area darkens, a storm moves in, and a concentration of energy summons a dangerous boss. You must fight and defeat the boss to get its rewards.
Okay.
Once you have defeated it, summon another. And another. And another. And another. You have 10 total waves of boss fights which get incrementally more difficult. If you manage to defeat them, you get full boss rewards, but also opportunities to get new runes. These can only be obtained from this map.
Hold up.
The Fractured Lake contains a surreal water. And another. You have 10 total waves of boss fights which get incrementally more difficult.
Let's look at that, because I don't know what those things.
If you manage to defeat them, you get full boss rewards, but also opportunities to get new runes. These can...
All right, stop. Somebody said the QA is pretty good also. They mentioned a lot of stuff that was left out of the reveal. Okay, cool. I might have to look at that, see what that is. Increased attack speed, buffs on you expire faster. Attacks with this weapon have 10% chance to inflict lightning exposure. Reduced effect to shock on you. Meta skills gain energy. This is the one right here. Meta skills gain 10% increased energy. This makes my other character a lot better. And you get lightning. Okay. Minions gain 10% of their physical damage as extra lightning damage. Minions take 10% physical damage as lightning damage. See, that would be perfectly. That's a great one. This is a great one. One problem with it, and I'll say one problem with it. They don't have absolution. If they had absolution, this would be the great rune of leadership would be way better, because that's physical damage as extra lightning damage. That means, oh, that would be so awesome. Okay, let's keep going.
Can only be obtained from this map. The Fractured Lake contains a surreal waterscape with fractured mirror-like objects. As you move around the map, the terrain itself elevates from below, creating the ground you walk on. In this unique map, all the rare monsters are mirrored, so you're always fighting two of the same rare at the same time, which can prove quite difficult. If you manage to overcome that challenge and make it to the end of the map, you'll be presented with a broken mirror, a powerful altar-like object that contains an item within it. The item contained within is a new base type, either an amulet or a ring, that can be crafted to have additional prefixes or suffixes at the cost of the other. The last unique map we'll show today is one based around the essence mechanic. You enter a crystalline cavern, and you will find a powerful map boss imprisoned in the center. It is surrounded by many rare monsters, also imprisoned in essences. By freeing and defeating the rare monsters, the essence they held will be upgraded to a greater essence, and be added to the imprisoned map boss. How brave are you? Will you do it, and you might lose everything. Underdo it, and you might regret it. It's your choice.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Speaking of essences, alongside visual improvements, you're now able to apply Vaal orbs to corrupt the essences, with a range of unpredictable outcomes. It could increase the number of essences, re-roll all the essences to the same type, or even upgrade the essences to greater essences.
Greater essence of
What if
body.
they're already greater essences? Well, it can upgrade those too. We have 4 new corrupted essences. Essence of Hysteria, Delirium, Horror, and Insanity.
Okay.
Each corrupted essence has its own interesting combat mechanics. For example, the essence of Insanity causes you to question even your own mind, as monsters split into shadowy clones, and you must locate the real one before a devastating icy explosion freezes everything around it. Each of these has their own crafting outcomes. The essence of Insanity can be applied to a belt. It adds a mod that will ensure the next Vaal orb used on the belt will guarantee adding 2 enchantments.
Ooh.
It's worth noting all the essences in the unique map can also be corrupted too, if you're willing to risk it. It's worth noting we have also added 10 extra Atlas passive points you can earn by completing 5 different unique maps. Now, new maps are just the beginning. We had a goal where we wanted to make sure you were constantly finding exciting new content, and that it could be lurking around any corner. So, we have added a bunch of new things that you could stumble into in any map you run. On your travels, you will sometimes encounter rogue exiles. Others
The
like
things
you
that
who
used to
have been
kill me all the
exiled and
time.
are openly hostile.
Because I'm never ready for them.
Some are malicious, some are mad, while others are simply fiends for loot. They will challenge you, a fight to the death. They use the same skills available to players, and even the same items. They aren't just dressed up in those items, they're actually using them. It's going to feel like a true player versus player situation. Of course, if you are able to slay these exiles, those items will all drop on the ground. So if you encounter an exile using a powerful or valuable unique item, which you can see displayed under their life bar, you want to be damn sure you kill them. Because if they kill you and your party, they'll portal out, taking their items with them. Every fight will feel completely
6
different depending on the
map
items they come equipped
portals
with.
remaining.
These exiles are much smarter than your regular
Nice.
monster. They have capabilities to dodge roll, avoid will feel completely different depending on the item.
Is that 6 map portals remaining? Does that mean we can go in and out of portal maps like we can in the old PoE one?
Items they come equipped with. These exiles are much smarter than your regular
Spoilers.
monster.
Okay,
They
no
have
spoilers.
capabilities to dodge roll, avoid your abilities with smart pathfinding, smart targeting, and much more action-packed gameplay. Fortunately, they're like you and they're not super durable. Unless, of course, they're wearing uniques like Helm's Heart, in which case, expect a longer battle. There are 12 different rogue exiles you can find, each with their own skills and personalities. Some may insult you, while others may admire your honor in combat.
Another encounter you might stumble onto in Dawn of the Hunt are one of 4 new unique strongboxes.
Strongboxes are chests with modifiers. When you try to open them, they activate traps and spawn waves of monsters that you must defeat to access the loot. Let's take a look at two of the new unique boxes that are harder to find and behave just a little bit differently. The Ogham's Legacy Strongbox has a corpse splayed out in front of the rune-carved stone. Upon interacting with the stone, you activate Forbidden Ezomite magic, which revives the monster as a powerful rare. The Strongbox comes with a modifier which determines how many times it will revive that rare. Each time you defeat the monstrosity, the Strongbox revives it again, adding an extra modifier to the monster. With each resurrection, it becomes more difficult, but also more rewarding.
Okay.
This Strongbox is infused with Thaumaturgy from Ancient
Hold
Fountain.
up. That might be the one you want to use. Remember how one of the ascendancies you get to take a rare and the rare becomes your friend? That was I think it was the Huntress. That actually might if you find that box, it'll range him up, make him stronger.
Technology. Eshel's Torment has a powerful artifact inside and is guarded by chaos itself. Defeating the monsters will grant you a unique item with a specific corrupted outcome. You'll have to find the other two for yourself to see what they do. Now, let's talk about the introduction to the endgame. Upon starting the endgame, Doriani tasks you with cleansing corruption to help restore the land. However, in practice, the quest objective just sent you on a grind to clear 15 maps. We wanted to make the quest to unlock your Atlas passives much more interesting. Now, Doriani is tasking you with a more specific objective. On the Atlas, you will find areas of corruption caused by the beast. In the center of each one, you will find a corrupted nexus, the source of the affliction. In the areas leading up to the nexus, you will notice that corruption spills out from slain enemies and amalgamates into powerful monsters. Corrupted maps existed on the Atlas before, but we've done significant work on improving these monsters.
Okay.
We've also done a full pass on the modifiers on these maps to make them more interesting and more rewarding. Once you reach the Nexus, you will have a new task. Cleanse the source of corruption. When you defeat the last rare in those maps, they will spawn one of 3 terrifying bosses. Amalgamations of corruption itself. After defeating that boss, Doriani will come and cleanse the corruption for good. As the remains of the boss are purged of corruption, it coalesces into raw crystallized power, which you can use to gain points for your Atlas passive skill tree. The upgrade system that allows you to add and enhance content in your maps.
Oh, okay.
We didn't stop there though. When you complete a corrupted nexus, all of the remaining surrounding corrupted maps will become cleansed maps. Cleansed maps also have new monsters.
Okay.
A new boss. And their own set of modifiers and rewards, including finding fracturing orbs by slaying cleansed
I like
enemies.
that fire drop. Yes, you see that?
These orbs can be used in crafting on a rare
that.
item to cause one of its modifiers to become fractured. A fractured modifier is one that cannot be modified by any means. You are able to freely modify the item, ensuring the fractured modifier will never change. If you get the right item with the right mod, it can prove to be a very powerful crafting base indeed.
Oh,
You must now choose. Do you complete all the corrupted maps and then the Nexus? Or maybe you beeline to the Nexus, complete it, and do all the remaining maps cleansed. Both have rewards to entice you and challenges to assess. Now, let's have a talk about towers. One thing we've had a lot of feedback on is the busy work around running towers and managing your tablets.
I hated towers.
The first change we've made here is that we have reduced the number of towers drastically. So there are now 1/3 as many as before,
Oh, that sucks.
but we've made them much more powerful. To start with, tablets now inherently add twice as many mechanics. But that's not all. Running higher tier maps and towers now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets. By tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many mechanics as before. So, we're running far fewer towers, dealing with fewer tablets, and affecting even more maps than before. But because there are fewer towers overlapping with each other, you won't get...
So I got a question. Does the tower, this looks like the tower is going to have bigger influence area. Because isn't that from this tower, that little line back here is the influence area? then it's okay. I can kind of agree with that because it's gonna have larger area.
Get as many opportunities to stack different tablets. In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once. You always get 1 slot on completing the tower, but if you can complete a tower with more mods on the waystone, you can unlock a 2nd or 3rd slot. Overall, this allows for even more juicing from towers, while drastically reducing the amount of busy work you have to do.
So how do you get that 4th slot? Go back. You see that? How do you get 4th slot? So they say you can do these 3 slots. You can unlock 3. So how do I get a 4th slot? Or is it just gonna take these 3, put it into here as 1 tablet with a modification?
In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once. You always get 1 slot on completing the tower, but if you can complete a tower with more mods on the waystone, you can unlock a 2nd or 3rd
so every
slot.
tower is now
Overall,
like 12
this
towers.
allows for even more juicing from towers, while drastically reducing the amount of busy work you have to do. On top of that, towers are much more interesting maps because they can now spawn with all mechanics, including bosses. Each tower map has a new boss. Let's take a look at a couple here. The boss fight of the Alpine Ridge map has 2 powerful witches contesting for territory. One witch has an affinity for ice, the other fire. Who will win? Hopefully neither.
I got a question on that one. That reminds me of the Path of Exile 1 location where you go in and you have the 2 totems, and both of them are, one's giving ice and shooting you with ice, the other one's shooting with lightning, I think it is. And if you kill, you got to kill them, and whichever one kills first, the other one heals all the way back up, and then it starts hitting you with the even stronger attacks. So you got to choose which one you wanted to fight.
Boss of the Sinking Spire map is a remnant of the Val that has been charged with the lightning. It uses a full suite of lightning abilities, but be careful. If any of them hit the surrounding constructs, they will power up. Another thing that we've seen a lot of feedback about is sustaining waystones. As we looked into it, we realized that the people who couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot more than we had expected. And that made us realize something. During the campaign, the expectation is that you can die multiple times in order to learn how to overcome challenges. You are able to learn how the monsters behave, adapt to their skills, and eventually overcome them. But as soon as you get to the endgame, you are effectively no longer allowed to die if you want to sustain waystones. By the time you are getting towards the end of endgame, we want you to have to be careful not to die. But it certainly shouldn't be that we have such a sudden shift as you run your first maps. The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you die.
Okay, 5. Okay, so you can come back to it.
Continuing from where you left off.
That works. I like that.
When you start the endgame, you get up to 6 total attempts per map. As you add more modifiers to a waystone, the number of respawns goes down.
Oh.
This means that as you get to the point that you're running every waystone as a rare, you will have to be more careful. In parties, everyone gets to respawn that number of times. But we still think it's important that you can kill a boss in one go. In order to allow that to happen, we've made a change so that once you start the boss fight, it changes over to the same respawning system we use for pinnacle bosses. This means that the map owner can choose to respawn everyone at the same time. Another complaint we've seen a lot of is players not wanting to do the pinnacle content because of the experience penalty from dying. A change we've made here is that all pinnacle content now no longer grants experience, but also no longer removes experience on death either.
That's great.
Dawn of the Hunt also brings the first batch of Twilight Order reliquary keys from the
That actually is probably one of the best things. Do you know how many times you sit there, you be playing, even in PoE 1, you be running through, you be like, okay, oh man, I got some pinnacle type bossing I got to do. I can't do that until I level. Well, let me grind out another 2 hours and level, then you go in and fight the pinnacle boss, because guess what? You might die in it, and you don't want to lose all your experience trying to beat the boss. Yeah, that's right. I'm not fighting Syrian Exile at 85. I'll wait till I'm at 10 or 1 or something like that.
Early access supporter packs. These keys contain items selected by our supporters. They can contain any unique item found in Path of Exile 2. If the selected item is a pinnacle boss drop, then only special keys dropped by this content will be able to provide these items. For example, Hand of Wisdom in action can only come from a key dropped by Zesht.
Okay.
We're also making a change that allows pinnacle boss uniques to drop at any difficulty. Rarer uniques will be rarer at lower difficulties, but still possible to find. This applies to the drop charges for the reliquary keys from this content as well.
That's good.
We spoke about towers and tablets earlier, but we have also added a suite of unique tablets. Each of these adds crazy interactions to the maps influenced by it. For example, this unique tablet allows you to run any map in a tower's radius without requiring connections, which can be quite useful for jumping gaps and traveling around your atlas.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And this tablet causes all runic monsters spawned during expedition encounters to be duplicated, and weakens all expedition monsters that emerge from the ground. The Atlas tree has also been expanded, and you can find many of the new mechanics there, and improvements to existing ones too.
Intuitive leap for maps, yeah.
Now through this live stream we have mentioned quite a few new crafting options that we've added. New runes, corrupted essences, fractured mods, and jewelry crafting bases. But we did have just one more crafting system to talk about: recombination. Expedition was the only in-game mechanic that was lacking a crafting system, so that needed to change. Recombination is a mechanic that might be familiar to some players. It allows you to merge two items together, hoping to get the best elements of each on a single new item.
Oh, looks like we got another ad break. This recombinator isn't accurate, by the way. They talked about it during the QA. Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to look that QA. I'm gonna have to watch that QA to try to get through it. You now get to select mods you want and it gives you the odds of the odds of success. That's actually pretty cool. That is probably the best thing they could have done, because that allows you to kind of get together and kind of put those mods and be like, okay, I want this mod or I want that mod, and I got a 20% chance for it, but yes, I will take it. That's so good. That's so good. Failure means both items are destroyed and there's no new item created. Ooh, that sucks. But it could be very strong. Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you don't get the right well, no. See, there's a difference though. There's a difference. I will pull this up. What happens if I got a very good item that has like a tier 5 item, tier 5 items, and or tier 5 stat things on? I got 2 of them on this one item, 2 of them on that item. I combine it because I want these particular ones, but if it combines with the other one, it might be okay for somebody else, but not my character. It's going to destroy recombination being used, failed recombinations being put on the auction house. That's what it's going to do. All right, let me start this back up.
This new crafting bench will be unlocked as you complete your first expedition, and requires artifacts found during expeditions to fuel it.
Oh.
The rarer the mods on the item you are combining, the more expensive the cost. That wraps up all the major in-game changes we're talking about today. With all the system changes and new content, we can't wait to get in there, start blasting maps, and obliterating monsters. There is one more thing we wanted to
literally.
clarify before we move on,
Really?
which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access leagues, so you can play your existing characters. However, there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy.
Hey, I like
It
that.
is recommended to start over and get the full new experience in the Dawn of the Hunt leagues.
So we got standard and new.
For all our existing early access
That's what
players,
that's what
we're
I
really
clap, I
looking forward
clap.
to joining you playing in this new update. For those who don't already have access
So that,
and are interested in
that
playing Path of
means,
Exile 2,
let's just be
Dawn of
honest,
the
that
Hunt,
means
you are
we
able
now
to at
have
any
leagues.
time purchase an early access
We
support
have
pack
leagues in
at
Path of Exile 2. We have
www.pathofexile2.com.
leagues in Path of Exile 1.
Additionally, the Paladin and Penance supporter packs are now available to purchase in Path of Exile 2.
Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just be you know, it's official. Yeah, it's official. Just FYI, guys, this is one of those things that I think we really need to discuss. It's those things. It's a terrible thing that I must say, but I have to say it.
And contains 6 microtransactions each, and the full pack's face value in points.
I'm not buying a supporter pack for Path of Exile 2 for at least 2 leagues. And I will tell you the reason why. Because GGG was very mean to last Epoch people. They told you when they were going to come out with their game. They specifically told you, hey, I'm coming out this date. And what did you do? GGG was like, so, what up? Who cares? Boop. We're going to do it 2 days after you. That irked me. That irked me. So because that irked me, I am boycotting GGG. Not boycotting the game. Y'all got to be crazy. I like playing the game. I'm boycotting purchasing MTX for 2 leagues. Yeah, that's why I said boycott. I didn't say I'm never going to do it. It's a it's a toxic relationship. You get beat up by GGG. You got to come back. Oh, I got to come back. I got to try this again.
All the microtransactions contained within these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
You guys are so wonderful.
We got to go back to what is it? There we go. Oh, it took me back from the thing. There you go. That's okay. We're back to this. So the announcement page. Let's look at that. Did I do that? Come on, really? A machine's acting up, people. There you go, announcement page. There we go. I pressed the button. All right, that's what it was. Okay. I was sitting there and I was like, what happened? All right, so let's go back to here. Make that big. Okay, so we already know about these. The Ritualist, the Amazon, and the Huntress. I think the Huntress is going to be awesome. Now, the 20 new skills, hit and run, Sage, counterattacks, Primal Fury. We understand that. This is going to be the bomb. The Lich. We got to figure that out. So, Tear, Rip, Cadence, and Loyalty. Okay, that's okay. Hey, they got my hammer. They got my hammer. That's my hammer. That's my hammer. Level 18 lightning spell on melee hit. So, gotta find a lightning. We gotta find a lightning attack. 100 new uniques is nice. Yep, Street, you're definitely right. It is nice. So that's this I think is gonna be awesome because I'm gonna go ahead and call it out. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna use that for. Let me turn back on the music because I don't think I'm gonna press this for a second. All right, so oh, you can't even hear the music. I understand why. You have to worry. I will have to deal with that later. Okay, so I think this is going to be an awesome unique, and I think this unique would be great with this with the nope, not that one. I was looking for the coming of calamity, the one that gives you Herald of Ash, Herald of Ice, and Herald of Thunder. And this is like you get a lightning spell. You know level 18 lightning spell on melee hit. So it grants a lightning spell on melee hit. So you can just sit there and you can be doing your normal attacks. You get the lightning spell to go ahead and hit your enemies. And it's going to hit the enemies on the outside, do what they need to do. And that's going to, I mean, just think about it. Just think about it. You got Herald of Ash, Herald of Ice, and you've got Herald of Thunder. So you're going to get all those increased damage effects from smacking people around. And then you get the lightning that's going to be going out and just hitting everybody as well. So I think it'll be awesome. Now we also have this Nocturnal wooden wooden buckler, sorry. This is evasion 75, 73 evasion, increased attribute requirements, and Soul Eater. Oh, I didn't see that. Soul Eater. Yeah. It took, look, I was reading down and saying, this isn't that impressive. Then I saw Soul Eater and was like, let me take that back. Let me rephrase that statement. Soul Eater is pretty good. All right, let's see here. What's this? Your speed is unaffected by slows. That's good. Used when you are affected by a slow. That's a good charm. Grants onslaught during effect. Okay, we can go with that. So now what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to go out on the internet and go try to see if I can find I gotta go to the internet and see if I can find the so where's the Q&A? Don't they usually put the Q&A in this thing? That was the announcement page. You'll put it on Discord? Okay. I could just do this as well, which is content reveal.
Hi,
stop.
I'm Jonathan Rogers, game director.
Pause and go here and see if they got the Q&A on this. Look at the videos. Oh, look at live. Nope, nothing like that. Okay, you put it on. Oh, there you go. I just grabbed that.
This is World of Warcraft,
This is World of Warcraft, and we don't care.
but there's no classes because there's archetypes instead. An archetype is a fusion of two or more classes, like this Fire Lord.
Skip.
Good morning,
There you go.
Exiles, and welcome to the Q&A portion of today after a very exciting reveal with lots and lots in it, exceeding my expectations, particularly in crafting. But on that note, we're joined here by Jonathan and Mark to talk about all that we've seen today and more in the future of Path of Exile 2. And you had an update about the recombination.
Yes, that's
first,
right.
though.
That's right. Yeah, so we actually last night had a bit of a design session and realized that we weren't actually fully happy with the way that recombination worked. So we actually made quite a big change to it, which wasn't reflected in that video, obviously, which is basically that we sort of wanted to give a bit more control to the player over how recombination works. And we also kind of weren't really happy about the fact that recombinators is something that like kind of matters a lot for really, really ultra endgame players, but it wasn't something that was really mattering a lot for like the people who effectively got access to the feature at the start. So we've actually changed it now so that the way it works is that you pick which mods you want on the each item from each item. And then it gives you a percentage chance of success based on the number you picked. So if you pick just like one from one and one from the other, then the chance is much, much higher. But if you pick if you pick 6 mods, it'll become practically impossible. So effectively, like the more you're wanting to design the item, the less of a chance of actually having success. So it means that if you just want to get like a mod, if you want to get an item with like, okay, these 2 mods that I found off the ground, that's relatively easy. If you want to get an item which has all of them, then very hard. So
Okay. I just thought about something. Okay, so they're sitting there saying you can't put all 6 mods on there, right? But what if you want to have 3 mods? So I want this one, relatively easy, right? So I want this one, and add that other one, and then get that. And then I got 3 mods on there automatically. The ones that I want. And then the question is, does the difficulty increase with the tier of the mod? So you remember how you had the tier items, and you released it, or you identified it, and you had a better chance of having really high tier mods or low tier mods, whatever you want to call it, the ones that were better. So if I take 2 of those and I put them together, then I go to and find another good one, pop that out, and then throw that in there and put those 3 together. What's the chance? Is it based off of the amount you select, or is it based off the quality of the mod?
We think that's a much better design because it means you can kind of use the recombinators actually become something that you can use even from from the first point you get them, but there's still this kind of end game, like for perfect stuff, you might still be able to do it with more. It is kind of balanced though, so that like if you pick literally all 6, then it's going to be like incredibly low to the point of like don't even try that. But like 4 mods might be a good thing to sort of be striving for, that kind of thing, and then exalt the other 2, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the new design of that. So hopefully that'll be in by the time 0.2 comes out. We've kind of got a plan for doing that. But yeah, I think it's a much better design than what we had before for recombinators.
If it's not there for 0.2, it'll be as soon as it can afterwards.
But
yeah, spur of the moment, night before the live stream design sessions. But increased player agency and visibility into the success result is just a win. And honestly, took way too long to, get to the point of us actually going, this is just straight up better to have observability into that and the freedom of choice. So.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. Recombination definitely felt like something that was both really high end in terms of the crafting that it was intended for, but also just even understanding it. This seems much more intuitive because
you just pick what you want.
the mods you want.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So it does sound like it's a little bit of a nerf for the very high end of crafting, though.
It might end up being, but I'm not it sort of depends on how the numbers come out. Because we only just designed this, we need to still work out exactly how the numbers end up looking. But I mean, look, we have to make sure. Obviously, whenever we're designing any crafting system, we have to be really sure that we're not screwing over finding stuff on the ground. So you have to sort of have that balance, and that's so that kind of informs everything we do with crafting usually.
One difference here, though, of course, is if the success chance fails, both items are destroyed as opposed to always keeping one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically percent chance for success, and if it fails, item's gone. So
roughly, what do you think you try to pitch just choosing 2 mods at?
It depends on what mods you're selecting, but I'm kind of thinking kind of like 35%-ish kind of thing for like 2 normal mods, that kind of thing.
Both
Like for
to
them
go
both,
over?
yeah, for them both. For if you pick 2,
Yeah.
and then but we'll
It
see.
kind of depends. Again,
It kind of depends. We'll see how we have to do
higher
some
tier
math.
mods are rare. And,
Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of
This-
it
it's
also,
situation.
the other thing is it's going to now have a fixed cost, so it's not going to
Yeah.
you know,
And the idea is
go
like,
up based on
yeah, and the idea is like doing a single expedition should be enough to do a recombination. So, you're going to be doing them like relatively often as you're doing expeditions.
So is the part of Expedition where you
Yeah,
get
you
to
know the
craft with
odds, but it
NPCs
seems
still
like
a
they're
thing?
saying that the odd would be
have you
low.
gotten this?
Yeah, I mean, you've still got that whole mechanic, and like, so it's effectively it's competing for the artifacts.
Yeah.
And then he
between
did talk
recombination
about tier
versus,
the mod.
buying things from that other way.
So is there some buffs intended for that then to make it more competitive?
not
with-
yet. It definitely needs some love in the future, but not at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like the systems can kind of go hand in hand, where one is giving you items that you can then potentially recombinate.
That is also true. You can use the ingredients of one in the other, or the outcome of one as an ingredient in another,
Cool. We'll talk more about crafting a little bit later on for sure, because there was a lot announced there, which I'm quite excited about. Definitely exceeded my predictions for what you'd be adding in terms of crafting. But firstly, though, just a quick clarification on the league. So there's not going to be a wipe for the new players joining us. If you were playing on a character, you can still keep playing on a character. But a lot of long-term Path of Exile players know the importance of playing on a fresh start. And that's also really important for you guys as well,
For
right?
sure, yeah. I mean, basically, if we don't have like any character that's come from before, you're just not gonna like, because the balance is so different and because so many things have changed. There's like no point in even listening to feedback for someone who's playing in the old league. Like, it really has to be that you're doing the fresh start, and we're sort of seeing how things go in the new economy. So like, we were really sort of, it was kind of an interesting decision about whether or not we should make it so that all the content is exclusive, or rather like what amount of content would be exclusive to the league versus not. And the issue that we had is that so I mean, like, a league means something in Path of Exile. In order for something to rise to the level of a league, it needs like a certain amount of features. And the original thing we were thinking about doing that way would be the Asmerian Wisps, but there wasn't quite like the kind of like meta mechanics and stuff with that. So like, we didn't quite rise to the level of feeling like it deserved to be a challenge league. And at the same time, we've also got a lot of new players playing Path of Exile 2, never played Path of Exile before. So we were a little bit like, we kind of were deciding like, okay, should we make them exclusive or not? We sort of decided, you know what, for this one we're not going to. And then what we'll probably try and do is for the next league that we do, we'll actually make it a proper challenge league with like its own exclusive mechanic and
caved.
so on. But yeah, it's a little bit funny because like,
caved.
early access is a bit of a different situation, different, and so. Yeah, we'll sort of see how this goes anyway. But certainly,
They
I would
didn't wanna
encourage
lose the
everyone just,
people
like,
that they
starting
got
in on a new
streaming.
character, I think
Or
you'll have
the people that
much
are actually
better time
playing,
because,
that's what it
obviously
was.
there's structural changes to the passive tree. It's like if you log in with your old character, you're going to have like your tree's going to get reset. You have to do stuff. There's things like that are going to happen that mean that and also just balance changes, right? Like huge numbers of them. So you're going to have a better time playing from the start.
That's it. And speaking of the Huntress, then, so we saw our initial Huntress quite some time ago now and had some hands-on time with it and things, but I certainly, having played that before and played it now recently, the Huntress has changed quite a lot.
Yeah.
So what was the, how hard was it to get it ready for release? What was kind of the key there?
I mean, it's funny because class design is one of those things where every time you add something, it can make you reevaluate everything else, which is why it's so hard to predict like how long a class will take. So like, it changed a lot since the last time we had we were showing Huntress. And honestly, like, it's like, while there are some skills that you will still see, like, it just plays completely different. And I mean, whenever we're looking at like how we're going to design something like this, it really comes down to like, what is it's the special about the character class? Like, how can we double down on that to make sure it feels different? So with the Huntress, you've obviously got spears as a base type. The key difference between a spear and any other weapon type is that you can both use them at melee and you can also use them at range. You can throw them. And so because of that, we really were just really trying to incentivize everything possible so that you use both of those things. And action RPG players, they that generally speaking, the balance can often be such that you only really want to do one thing and do that one thing well. So trying to incentivize the kind of ranged and melee is, quite a thing. And I mean, the way we do it effectively is try to make sure that like there are combo chains where, a ranged thing can combo with something that's melee, and a melee thing can combo with something that's ranged, and then also give you good abilities to move between the two states. And so that kind of means that you end up with a very agile character, like you're constantly moving like backwards and forwards and kind of moving around. And I would say that given that it's the Dex character, that it's good that it feels that way, that it feels the most agile of all of the melee character classes. That's been a really good one. But I mean, look, there are, in terms of changes, I mean, look, there are just changes all the time. Like the frenzy charge thing was like relatively late in development. Like there's like quite a lot of things going on that just meant that the field kept on evolving. And another big one, of course, was parry, which I honestly was very skeptical of working. And Mark, Mark was the one who saved it. Honestly, like I was like, you know what? There was like 3 times I think where I was like, you know what? I don't think it's going to work. And then you were like, okay, I think we're gonna save this.
I was like, give me a week.
Yeah, exactly. And it works completely differently for most games, because in most games, obviously, for parrying, the way that works is that you have to time the to push the block button at exactly the right time, but that's just something that just wouldn't work in our combat system, because you're often packs of monsters. It's just like you don't really have the ability to read combat in that way in our game, and at the same time we need to make something where there's going to be if a single monster in a pack hits you, you need to be able to respond to that with something that's going to you need to be able to respond in a way where you don't just then immediately get hit by a bunch of other stuff.
Yes. So
having it so that the parry, it always parries, but it's then taking advantage of what the parry does to the monster by following up with something that's going to give you an explosion or something like that to kind of deal with the pack. That's something that sort of allows that counter gameplay to work in our game. So you've kind of got 2 primary parry follow-ups. You've got the frenzy charge one, which dashes back, which means that you don't have to worry about the monsters hitting you. And then you've also got the one that there's another one which I don't believe we showed there, which called Fangs of Frost, which does a counter where you attack with ice, which freezes the pack. So it's another way to so in both cases, you've kind of got something that's kind of dealing with the fact that you've got all these monsters around you. And that was kind of the biggest challenge I think that we had with that mechanic.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll also make note of there was a score
I'll
I found
take the
that you can
freeze
attach to
parry.
any attack that allows you to follow up parry to generate a frenzy charge too. So it doesn't even have to be the backflip.
Yeah.
You
In
can
that case, there's other.
create your own parry.
Yep, and then of course there's always Sniper's Mark. And there's there's a skill that does give you a guaranteed crit, so that's a potential option as well. Like you've got a few different ways to generate them.
Because parry guarantees a light stun.
Yeah.
You always get that small window to actually engage or do a thing before before you're under danger again.
And I'll tell you this, like, I am one of those players who never parry, right? In any game ever, because I could never do it. It's always just so frustrating. So I was very skeptical of that, but it feels really good. You've both managed to make it something that's easy to do, because you can just hold the button down and parry at any time. There's no skill involved in that. But at the same time, you've incentivized making it so that you do want to still try and time it as best you can personally how have you done that? How have you made it so that you actually still want to kind of play it skillfully?
Well, I mean, ultimately, anytime you're holding down the parry button is when you're not attacking, right?
Exactly.
So you still want to kind of minimize the window, but at the same time, the timing is just not not as bad. But the nice thing as well is that once you do successfully parry, it's very obvious. You get the sound, you get the token on the monster. It's very chunky.
Yeah.
So it means it's very obvious when you're supposed to counterattack. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I think that it came out really well. And honestly, one of the funny things about it is that it immediately made me realize how bad shields are in comparison, which is why we're also trying to ninja in a change to how shields work at the last minute, which we'll see if it makes it into 020. I was playing around with it last night.
This was 8 p.m. last night.
Yeah, 8 p.m. last night, exactly. I was
messing with this.
Yeah, messing around with it. And I won't talk too much about how that's going to work, but effectively we want to make shields, shields better as well, kind of build something into those to make them, more interesting.
Been online
so that's the plan there. We'll see if it makes
it's making
following that
every
kind of
30
similar
minutes.
design space idea of being able to do a bit more with it.
Yeah,
and then
100%.
that feed into other skills and things like that as well.
100%.
There's a lot of room there to play with.
Yeah.
So we talked about Huntress being very, very combo heavy, and she has the deepest combo chains out of anyone so far, even exceeding things you can do with Monk. You've got 3-4 different skills deep of things you can start to synergize together. So how do you balance? How do you make that fun? Firstly, like rather than like onerous. For example?
I hate.
Well, I
this
mean, you
place,
just, I guess
people.
there's a few things. Like one of them is it just has to be very readable and understandable. When,
Yeah, they
like,
they
what you can do and
definitely
when you can
do
do it.
because guess
And
what?
I think the other thing that's really to our
um,
advantage here is reusing skills in multiple ways.
I don't know if I can change
So you
it
don't need, so you can make a
right
deeper
now,
combo
but
chain without requiring you to be using.
They
as
have
many skills in order
automatic
to do it.
setup.
So the way that Whirling Slash and
I
Tornadoes
turned
interact with
automatic
ground
off
effects and kind of
before,
like what
and I
stuff sort of
had it
means
at
that,
the
you're
least,
using Whirling Slash
you
multiple
know,
times as part of the same combo chain.
intrusive.
And that's an idea I think that I'd like to try
And
and
it's
explore
back
more because I think that
onto-
it is a cool way to kind of
it
extend the combo
automatically
chain,
sets
as I
it
said,
for
without sort of
whatever.
getting too many things involved, and makes it a lot cooler. So yeah, I'll think a bit more about how we can apply that to other classes and other skills. But yeah, it's worked out really well here.
Yeah, it's a bit of like a loose create your own combo system in a way. Like obviously there's intended combos, but because it's interacting with something that's fundamental like ground effects, you're able to combo with anything that creates a ground effect. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Like I added shocked ground to the backflip skill, or I got a companion pet that had a shocked ground aura.
Nice.
As like that was just there and that was available all the time.
I mean, it's funny as well because it also works on just enemy ground effects, and so sometimes you can just get a damage boost because the rare just happened to be dropping ground fire or something. So that's kind of fun. Yeah. But it's been it's just a lot of fun to play. The first time I ran into that was actually in the graveyard where there's these like chests that like pop open with fire, and like I was using tornadoes, and then one of them just randomly turned into a fire tornado, and I'm like, oh, what happened there? Oh, yeah, sweet. It was just like a really cool moment where it just sort of interacted with the environment, which was really fun.
It always feels like you're getting a little bit of something extra for free when you're taking advantage of the enemy effects or a boss fight that just has burning ground everywhere. It's like sweet. So how do you go about balancing though when you have a class that has deeper combos and kind of somewhat requires you to do a bit more versus a class or a skill or a build that is just bonk?
I mean, you have to ultimately make the combos matter, right? And I think actually that's one of those things that we're trying to really focus on with the balance changes we're doing in Dawn of the Hunt more generally, is making sure that even, like, I think it's the case where some of the combo gameplay kind of degenerates a little bit by end game in a way that, like, I want to make sure it still feels rewarded. And so we were sort of doing various checks, recently about, like as a random example, right? Like, so on the Mercenary, we found that doing, but when you get to endgame, doing armor break, what's it called? The armor piercing that causes armor break, followed with high velocity rounds, is just worse than just using high velocity rounds. And that's like really bad, right? Like we have to make sure that we're improving that stuff. So it's like sometimes you just get these things where like the balance by endgame kind of degenerates in a way that that doesn't support the combo anymore. And so we have to make sure that when we're looking at
I'm very happy to hear that, because that means that they're going to be making a change. Because what I was doing was I was doing armor piercing rounds, and then it'd break the armor or stack the armor, and then I'll do high velocity, and I was working out really good early. Later on, it felt, why even use it? Just use high velocity rounds, because there was no other reason to do anything else, because the high velocity rounds just did more damage. The armor piercing rounds, getting it to break the armor didn't help. It just didn't help. What do you mean it's just too good? Oh yeah, using high velocity by itself was just too good. Yes. I would have preferred to actually for it to continue to work in the end game, where I'm using the armor piercing rounds, get to 100%, and which I broke the armor, then bam, high velocity does a ton of damage, and everything is awesome. But what started happening is at the end, you're going through, and it's like, okay, armor break, bam, okay, that's not that much damage. Why? Okay, let's try this again, and then you do it again, bam, not that much damage. And it's like, okay, well, and then you started realizing because you forget to switch back, and you just high velocity, high velocity, high velocity, high velocity. I'm getting about the same damage that I was getting even when I was building up to break their armor. Huh. Yeah, I'll just use high velocity rounds. That's how I found out about it. Oh, we got dogs barking. Hold up.
Things that we're like making sure that when we're doing it, it's to support the fact that using more things is actually a good thing. Yeah, we're really trying to make sure that we're bringing some of that, improving some of that stuff as well as we're making the balance changes.
So do you have like a baseline there of where like the really simplest build should be, the build that just bonks? Like,
I mean, you mean in terms of damage or in terms of like what it does? I mean, we always want
I
you
guess
to be able to build that way.
the
But
players have to do a combo.
I mean,
like, for
no,
people who don't want
ultimately
to.
you never have to, right? But it sort of what it means is that you are sacrificing something. And look, the ideal situation is that like you don't feel like you have to do combos. You feel like you want to do combos,
Yes.
right? Like, because you feel rewarded for them. It's like should feel like a fun, like, oh, I can add this. Like it's the feeling you should be getting.
Yeah. I think the Huntress
Hey,
is
I'm gonna
doing
be
that
right
very well.
back.
Must be like extremely high. I don't think I've ever seen this like ranged melee.
I don't know
combo
if the
done well.
dogs are alerting
Well, I mean, it does
because
require a lot of
something's happening to
discipline,
my
and it means that
wife,
a lot of
or
skills,
they're
like,
just
end up on
nah,
the cutting room
I'll be
floor
right
because
back.
you try them out and then you realize, well, if this is in the game, then that's the only thing I'm ever going to do. So you got to be really careful about that stuff. For
Certainly playing the Huntress now makes me go back and look at the other classes and be
Yes.
like, we need to up that
Yeah.
the level there, and we missed the
Yeah,
mark a little bit now because this is better. And
Right.
who's to say the next class won't even be better and make us question even this? But
Sure. But that's the way it is with class design.
That's
It's
what he
just
says when
always-
we like
Yeah.
literally when you make a new class, you question everything. He's
Right,
not
right.
understating the level of
yeah.
questioning everything.
Yeah, do you see like going back to the monk at some point and looking for more like opportunities to link skills together with
I mean,
combos
we
and
haven't got to the full skill set for any class yet already,
Yes,
and we need
true.
to add more pieces
Because
for a lot.
I think there's at least 4 skills that were designed and then hunted in the monk currently.
Yep, Ranger the same. There was
yeah.
extra poison skills. It was intended to be more chaos dots. There's all kinds of stuff. We have to obviously at some point fill all of that in. Hard to say when, but we're going to try and incrementally get it, like much like how Ray Spectre and I mean the mount works with the Huntress, but we were like, let's give something for the Ranger this time. Let's give something for the summoners out there this time, and so we're just going to keep filling in those gaps over time.
And it feels like you're getting better at class and skill design as you go too. So I imagine the last class you're going to release is going to be like amazing. You'll look back at the first ones and be like, ooh.
possibly.
Well, that is the worry, but whatever.
But look, that just means we've got another round of going through
Yes,
everything
yeah.
and improving
Yeah.
stuff again, right? So
and that will never end.
That's it. So with the parry came the kind of looking at the player getting stunned, in particular player heavy stun. So
Yep.
it's always hard to tell players like, hey, we're
Is this the best survival game ever made?
This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized, previously owned by a small faction of about 800 people. Now, it belongs to you. Although you lost about 120 brave warriors, you finally took the shelter. After clean the mess and bodies, you found a lot of resources, including medicine supplies and food on the cabin. And they had also planted many fruits and vegetables. As the team leader, you were assigned a private bedroom. Lying
Oh,
on
y'all
a
looking at
large
commercials
bed,
on YouTube.
gonna do something to you, and it's gonna be a bad thing. You're not gonna.
Sorry
like
about
this.
that,
Well,
guys.
the funny thing,
Let's talk about why.
there's a few things like that actually, because so I mean, for a start, like we needed the downside of parry to be like that. Yeah, you get stunned out of it. But then when we're looking at how long, like we're like, okay, right now, even and it's this true with shield block as well. By the way, it's like if you get stunned out of that, the amount of time that you get stunned out for is actually not even enough time for most bosses to do a follow-up attack on you. And it's like, well, where's the downside if it doesn't even have enough time? So we did have to extend that out a little bit, and it makes you a little bit more careful. But
Ouch.
and just to warn people, right? There's a few other things like we lowered what's it called, the I can't remember the name of that thing now. The thing that makes you more easy to be elemental statuses apply to you. Ailment threshold. That's right, ailment threshold. Yeah. So we lowered ailment threshold to actually make it so the player has those mechanics happen more to them, right? Because like right now through campaign, like you barely get frozen or burning or shocked, really, to be honest. So there's stuff like that we've had to do to kind of make sure that that because if you don't have that stuff actually happen to you, then there's no point in mitigating it. And it's like things like charms were like not very useful because those mechanics wouldn't happen to you. There's stuff like that.
I believe it's weapon type locked street. From what they said inside of the reveal, it looked like you can use bows and spears while riding it. So I think that means that it's locked down to somebody who can use a bow or a spear.
That right, the downsides do actually matter in order to make it so that that you then there's other things you can do to sort of bypass those downsides. So yeah, that's kind of one of those things that we just have to make sure is there.
I did always find it a little bit strange that like I was able to count the number of times I was frozen in the campaign on one finger.
For sure. For sure. For sure. But
And
yes.
it's always by those vile ghosts.
Yes.
So expect a little bit more, a little bit more danger from the stun. I definitely died a couple times to getting heavy stunned.
Yeah, it can
So
happen.
that's mostly occurring if you're like doing bad blocking or parrying. But can it also occur just from like taking a really big hit or something?
Nope.
No.
At least we've discussed that. We've gone through a whole bunch of different like. Should certain boss abilities heavy stun you, and if you speak into enough stun threshold, it like demotes it to a light stun, and if that, there's all kinds of multi-hour discussions we've had, and we haven't really come to anything conclusive there. But it's only from mount, raise shield, and parry, and of which, at least for all of them, you can see your stagger bar filling up. It's worth noting things like evasion apply to. So when you're parrying, we turn off your evasion from taking damage because the block does, right? And otherwise you'd be like, I'm going to parry it. Oh, I evaded it. It didn't parry. Yeah. But you can evade the stagger build up. So you don't take the damage anyway, just before
the evasion
anyone
still
misunderstands
works.
that.
The evasion still works.
Yeah.
So high evasion will mean you can parry for longer. There's a bunch of parry stuff on the tree, including damage affecting the debuff, the duration of the debuff, so you get to benefit for it longer. Reducing stagger is all over the place for both mount and so in the dex section of the tree. So yeah, you can mitigate. I mean, my expectation is probably you'll get some in-game builds that are just like I can parry forever and there's no real consequence. So not every skill can be parried, of course.
It otherwise follows the slam rules. If it's a slam from above or below, you can't parry it. Much to your frustration for some things.
I mean, there are a few things where I've got disagreements about what looks like it's parryable, but...
my hopeful there was when it's contentious, people would bring it up and would change it, right?
Sure.
So, like, if it's on the line, it's meant to be blockable. Like, if it isn't clear. And there was no way with hundreds of monsters and many dozens of bosses that we weren't going to miss some things, so...
So you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but action RPGs kind of naturally pull you towards one damage type, one skill, one specific thing, and optimizing as much as possible, because otherwise you're just making a bad build a lot of the time. But I notice Huntress has a bit of everything. She's got bleed, she's got all the elements, she's got physical. The only thing she doesn't have is like chaos, but there's kind of poison on the tree right there. So how do you like promote this, like all of this different stuff together? Are you supposed to only kind of be relegated to using 2 or 3 skills, or are these supposed to come together, and how do you manage that?
Well, there's a few things. So one of them is that we provide a lot of combos with the expectation that you'll probably be focusing around like a few specific things rather than necessarily using the whole tree. So like there's that. The other thing as well is just making sure that in the passive tree there's sort of options that go across both. So the Huntress's passive tree has quite a lot of things like extra melee damage if you've done a ranged attack recently, and then it's got things like bonuses against blinded enemies because while you're in a whirling slash there's so it's sort of stuff like
beautiful.
that where we're trying to carefully think like, well, how can
I
we
like
come up
that
with something
whirling slash
that's
thing.
interesting and buffs everything that you might want to be doing, that kind of synergizes with the stuff that that Huntress can do. But it is honestly hard because like many categories of things only matter for one thing, part of a combo. So it's just like trying to come up with categories that can somehow span all of them in different ways. And ideally we can achieve that, but it is pretty hard.
Generally, you're going to become more niche or more selective because, again, even mixing elemental and bleed is just probably often going to result.
You
in
probably wouldn't do both elemental and bleed. You'd probably choose one or the other. But that's why we kind of try to make sure that, like, so you've got sort of linkages between them, though, right? Because it's like, for example, the thunderous leap detonates the spears that you do from the bleed thing. So it's like kind of like the idea there is to like it changes how that skill then has a use in the combo with the other one. So even if that skill itself isn't doing a lot of damage, it's triggering something that's taking advantage of all the damage bonuses you got for the for your bleed stuff. So that's kind of like the idea, is just to link all that stuff in a bit so that you can use the non like directly synergistic things in a kind of more synergistic way.
Yeah, that's
okay.
If you didn't see that from the earlier trailer, you spear them with a bunch of spears and then jump on them and explodes them to bleed. Amazing. So, but yeah, that's using an elemental skill like in another way as a detonator. But and even more, you've got weapon swaps as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's all those systems we already added about all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I mean, like, what will be interesting is whether or not we miss something cross-class, right? That's always a concern. Is someone will come up with some way to abuse something, between something that's going on in the spear skills with some other class that we failed to consider.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm gonna do. Class we typically like call it like, Huntress is spears, but kind of not really. It's a signature weapon, but
absolutely.
nothing in the Ascendancies prescribes spears.
Exactly. So effectively, we take great pains to make sure that the Ascendancies never mentions weapon types. That that they're always generalized. So, for example, the infusion mechanic in the Amazon, it just says projectiles, it doesn't say spears, and the reason it does that is so that you could make an Amazon who is a bow user, and that's all fine. So it's effectively
open-ended.
It's open-ended, and honestly, I know that Mark does it makes the constraint a lot harder for how to design an Ascendancy class when you have to think about it that way, for sure.
Oh, it'd be much easier to just put a bunch of cool spear stuff in there, but now only really. I mean, it was similar to the original PoE 1 Saboteur, called out traps and mines, and so if you're a trap and mine character, what are you doing? Well, you could do something else, but no one else is playing that thing. You know, it isn't. It is easier to design. It is certainly less flexible and open as to what people can play in the different combinations and all that. So
how much do you have to consider the different weapons and the skills and how they interact together when you're originally designing them, or is there just literally so many possible combinations you're just like, the players will take care of that for us?
I mean, I think it is relatively impossible to come up with everything, but certainly we have to consider, is this going to be broken with anything else in particular? And there just has to be certain rules for things about, how easy is it to apply this debuff, how easy it is to consume this debuff. And even then, it's we often make mistakes and have issues. I mean...
When he says relatively impossible, it is actually impossible.
Actually,
but... even just looking at the balance pass we're doing at the moment, right? I mean, there's hundreds of things that, that we still. I mean, there's things that we could never honestly understand all of the different broken things that could possibly exist, and so it's it really does depend a lot on on seeing reports on what people are doing on some level, right? But then I think that what will happen over time is obviously the game's still relatively new. We're still making relatively big changes. Over time, the balance I think will get to the point where we no longer have these crazy outliers to the same extent, and it should mean that we get to some sort of relative class parity. By parity, what I mean is people playing all the different classes rather than focusing only on a few as we get towards full release. Because right now it's obviously very skewed. Because there's certain broken things. So
there's lots of things that are broken.
The balance over time, we'll get there.
It's one of the main goals and benefits of the early access.
By the way, I'm still listening, but at the same time,
right. And
I'm going through trying to find the ascendancy things.
Release was always going to have 1,000 problems.
If they posted anything to X,
the next one will have half that. The next one half that, and probably eventually it's going to be down to here's only a few things going out of whack. There's always going to be something. Because we add too much content for it to even be controlled. Again, there are too many uniques, too many supports, too many skills, and too many other changes for any amount of people. You're talking about a matter of you'd have to put in thousands and thousands of hours internally to find it and then you give it to the players. There's so many people, it's going to take literally 5 minutes. So it is. It's very beneficial. And we're lucky in that regard that we get to that level of testing and feedback and on such a mass level, and especially, with things like, Ninja and all of that, and other people being able to see it and discuss it more openly, we're just going to be able to iterate on it even faster. But yeah, every single patch, you're going to see a pretty substantial change in what's going to happen here. Yeah.
Thanks for making the broken builds. And
well, 100%.
I mean, you mentioned support gems. It's over 100 support gems added just this patch. It's already so many, and with you doing a different weapon for each of the 16 classes.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot by the time we're done. But there kind of has to be, right? Because
that's what you made it. You made this system that you need so many supports to support. Because otherwise, it's not going to work. Especially with this one support system, it's what have you guys done?
Well, I mean, look, this is why we have recommendations, and hopefully we can improve those as well, and continue to get that better.
There's certainly room for the complexity to get a little bit out of control here. So the recommendeds are going to become more and more important. Right. So we need to make sure those are very much right.
For sure.
You must be looking to players even to find some of those recommendations down the line as well.
In some cases. What
stuff is popular?
I don't think that they shared. I got one. I went to Reddit to go see if they did it. If they did share the ascendancies, looks like they have it on.
Really take into account combos.
Well,
you know,
Reddit
that
had
kind of
a-
means they're a
had
bit more
a
simple. Like
picture
the
of one.
recommendations are going to be more simple than what you'd otherwise be doing if you're.
You sent it
Feels
on
like,
Discord?
feels like at some point
Okay.
you're gonna need some sort of nested recommendation system. It's like, well, I'm kind of doing bleed stuff, so you go to the sub menu for bleed recommendations.
I'm less certain about that because I kind of don't want to get into the thing of actually telling you what your build should be. Yeah, that's a little bit different there.
Maybe like more sorting methods for the show me all the gems. Oh, there's a lot that are only in there that I never recommended right at this point.
There are, yes, there are.
It's going to be an interesting challenge you guys have set yourselves to make enough supports there. So another thing that
it's
you
on their
managed to
Discord.
challenge
Got
that you set yourselves, and I always wonder, like, why did you do this to yourselves, was Spectres. So originally those were planned to be in for launch, but obviously Spectres are a whole can of worms. It's, hey, let's just give players access to every monster. Also, we've made so many new monsters.
Yeah.
We're talking about all the broken. There's going to be some broken in there, I promise you. And there's going to be some stuff we have to change.
I mean, they've done, but I mean, effectively, what the time between early access and this was like, okay, let's actually attempt at least to do a balance pass of this and like see if there's anything that's going to be a problem and then adjust numbers
Yeah, but now
accordingly.
you've got to account all those support gems on all those monsters.
Yes, well, this is an interesting thing, isn't it? The support gems work. The support gems work on them, and you know, like, what the hell is that going to do? Yeah, like, it's impossible to completely know. But yeah, like, look, I mean, there's probably definitely some some dark secrets lying in what kind of Spectre mixed with support gems are going to do.
And monsters have skills now. It's not like PoE1 where it's like just a bunch of zombies just doing default attack. It's like everything pretty much has a skill now at this point. So,
but you know, the great thing about it is we got to leverage all that work again for the beast taming as well. So and of course the difference there is that you also get the mods from the thing that you tamed. So you know, that's going to be
auras, ground effects.
Yeah, exactly.
On death explosions.
No, you've got a whole nother ruckus of potential interactions. So you know, we'll see what happens there.
We've done nice specific player versions of those things for which specifically when you tame the beast, so that they're not sitting there spamming skills in your hideout and all of that.
Good. Yes. So,
but also, like, there actually are player versions of the mods that Res can get, like, so that we can balance them if we need to.
Yeah.
Because some of that stuff would be ridiculous if you had it yourself. So, you know, basically, we still have it sort of work. It mostly works the same way, but there will just be numbers tweaked to the player versions, and the same works as well for the what do you call it? The ritual sacrifice.
Headhunter,
Headhunter and stuff like that. So it's player versions of the monster mods for that.
Yeah, this new attention to these things is going to benefit like the pre-existing stuff like Headhunter and that as well. Yeah, that's insane.
There's a new. Probably should let people discover it. There's a new unique charm that possesses you with a random Izmiri spirit as well, and so you get the daemons and the stats, and those technically also have player versions too, but actually not to necessarily make things worse, to make things better, because monsters are balanced to fight player life and monster life, not in the same universe. So actually what we've done is all the things you steal that are monsters and monster skills, like the explosions and the summoning bears and all that, we've actually specifically balanced them way up to be more effective against monster. So when you steal them, they're much more powerful, actually. Just so they're not just tickling monsters and doing 1% of their life kind of thing.
It was mentioned in chat, actually, the whole like Asmeri modifiers and things on stuff, that wouldn't transfer over with the companion system, surely?
No. No.
That would be a little bit too far, perhaps a bit unhinged.
We actually had to, because this is certainly a benefit. Once you have tamed the beast, it is not tradable. And people might immediately be like, oh, that's sad. Well, the issue is, and as much as you might want some of that, I'm sure you don't want to be carrying around a whole bunch of tame beasts in your inventory all the time, so that every single time you find a good rare, all of a sudden you have to go and...
Because it would mean that finding a rare would become a thing. Yes, exactly.
It's actually like this annoying, in order to make the most money, I have to be constantly thinking about and carrying around tame beasts.
But then we also made it so that as soon as you activate a beast, then no one who comes into the instance after that is allowed to tame it.
Can't do any,
so you can't TFT it's like a whole, like, there's like a lot of thinking about that stuff in order to make it so that, you know,
it's a sad thing to have lost, but it is like, no, I'm not. I'm not signing up for
I didn't even think about that. the like needing for cheat sheets and
Yeah,
guides
exactly,
and stuff.
right.
Like,
And so
which
you have to be
beats
really
worth the
careful.
work?
You have to be so
Currency
careful.
this week.
And the thing is like it's like we design this thing and then think, oh, trading beasts is going to be fun, but then you realize that the horrific reality
actually.
of what it will turn into. It's like, yeah, okay,
Oh,
well,
no.
you know, but yeah, at least we're thinking about that kind of thing. Like with more experience that we have now, early, so that we don't
We've
sort of
been
run
down
into
that
those
road
problems.
before.
Exactly.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've learned from past
Yep.
issues with that sort of trading.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, talking about some of the other new skills, we had the addition of the rower, which was teased quite some time ago, I think.
Yes.
But you've got it in and working now, and it looks
Yes.
like it's moving around pretty good. and
Yes.
It's obviously you've got like a big downside. If you get knocked off at heavy stun and stuff, you can't use melee from it, so it's for ranged attacks.
Yeah.
But it does seem like one of those things that it's going to be like everyone's going to use or no one's going to use because it's a clear speed machine.
It is a concern. I mean, look, my ideal situation is that you're using it sometimes and not using it other times. Like, if you're using it like during clear, I think it will, you know, like you will definitely want to, but we want to just make sure that we've got like, you know, sort of fun things like that. And like it's just a cool fantasy. Like there's stuff like that I just want to get in. And it's like, you know, look, if it doesn't work later, if we have to nerf it, I mean, sure, I suppose. But you know, like I want something like that to exist. You know, we believe that it is.
Take it easy. All right, man. So take it easy, Celine. Sorry, man.
You sound very convinced.
I'm 3 minutes late saying take it easy for you. Go good
As I
night,
said
sir.
earlier, you can probably get builds that get to the point of parrying indefinitely. So you can. That means in theory you can probably get to the point of running a rower indefinitely.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Again, enough evasion and enough
Yep.
stagger speaking into and all of that.
Yeah.
Well, fundamental question actually. Like, what's its move speed based on? Its own move speed?
The move speed is just your move speed. Like
Oh, it's got-
but it's
but
what
without the
you're,
penalty.
but what you don't get is the penalty for when you
of
attack.
course.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
thing. But it's funny. It's funny though because like even though it doesn't.
I'm gonna hold off on that one. I wanna try something. No, that didn't work. I try this. So I wanted to try to look and see if I could actually open up a location. So you remember back in the day, you used to be able to drag a picture or something like that onto like Google Chrome. It's Chrome, not a thing. Never
It
mind.
doesn't have a move speed bonus. It feels like you're motoring when you're using it, just because of the fact you don't get that downside
Yeah.
anymore. Like you feel like you're the fastest thing on the planet.
It is.
When you're doing.
There are other like more mechanical benefits, like it's considered a companion, which is a kind of subclass of minion that we've added, where you can only have one of each one companion base is a keystone for another, but you can only have one of each type. So like you can have a tame beast and a rower with the keystone.
Oh, right, yeah.
But inherently you can only have one companion.
Right, so you can't use a tamed beast if you're using the road.
And then there are heaps of passives for like if you have a companion, like companions while they're in your presence and all that kind of stuff. Heaps of that stuff around the bottom of the tree.
Yeah, I saw you guys remade the minion damage is player damage node on the tree. It's your companion damage nodes become player damage nodes. And I was like, oh, that looks like
yes,
I'm going to take that.
Well, so that's the like companion where it's like more the mercenary over to ranger huntress is more like, yeah, you want your one powerful minion and benefiting that benefits you and you benefit it, and there's that like, synergy between you and your companions.
So since it is a companion, I like the idea of like balance wise, maybe it ends up being that you're like map clearing on rollback, and then you get to the boss and you dismount like, you know, old school mounted knights who charge into battle and then dismount and fight.
Yep.
So if it ends up like that, that seems like that would be a
I
pretty
think
cool
that
balance
should
for
be,
it.
that should be the best way to use it, I believe.
Yeah, because then you gain access to your dodge roll for
Yeah,
the boss
exactly,
fight where you need it.
Yeah.
And does the rower then kind of do a bit when you're not on it?
It can attack, but I mean, it's not exactly a huge damage source or anything.
It's
like
certainly better to stay at ranged. It's not the most durable of birds.
But it acts as a distraction. Maybe
Yeah,
there's some
I
support
mean, it's a
gems
minion, right? Like, it
you can do
attacks
with.
things and does stuff.
Yeah, you can support it with minion supports to make it more durable and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's the one that's like the minion takes 10% of the damage before you do. So sacrificial bird.
Yeah, true.
Poor little guy.
That's
So
terrible.
that sounds. I'm looking forward to playing around with that one then. Speaking of new content, 100 new uniques this time. So how many are you aiming for? Kind of in general, is this about really like filling that roster?
Well,
out?
we want to have every base type have a unique for the purposes of chance.
Outside of boss unique.
Outside of boss uniques. But we want every
on
base
top.
type to have a to have a
Let me do this. All right. Let me find something. I'm trying to do multiple things here. Trying to get this get the room cooled off because the room is hot. And then what I want to do is I want to do this and do this. Yes, that's it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look at we're going to look at this. Okay, so I want to look at some of the stuff before it gets too late, and that's the Q&A is like another 2 hours or like another hour and a half, and I'm like, I want to see what that's cool things. Okay, so I want to deal with cool things, so I want to look at this. This is probably my first character class right here. When we start, and I repeat, when we start, I am going to be running this. Oh, that sucks. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. Okay, got it. Okay, so we already know that this was going to be the socket jewel, 100% increased effective socketed jewels, 50% mana, more mana cost if you have no energy shield. Okay, I can understand that. But I was just looking over here to look at this one, which says necrotic conduit, which is what I was hoping was going to be really awesome. But that's going to be a problem. So look at this. You and your allies in your presence have unholy might while you are not low on, while you're not on low mana. 5% of mana per lose 5% of mana per second. So you're going to lose mana running this one. You can apply additional curse. You can apply hexes to the enemy. So the only way that you would be able to do this one, I don't see how we'd be able to run it. Not effectively. Because even if you do energy, what you want to call it, Eldritch Battery, you're gonna burn through at 5% of mana per second. You could probably Eldritch Battery could compensate for it, but that's gonna be an ugly situation. Because then if you use Eldritch Battery, you can't use Energy Shield for yourself. Which in the last league or the last configuration, Energy Shield was the only way to go if you wanted to survive, especially in game. So that kind of hurts. So this and the next one. Oh, so this one and this one are swapped. Because this one is Unholy Buff. And then this one, so Unholy Buffs, 4% increased magnitude of Unholy Might buffs. You grant per 100% per 100 mana max. So the more mana you have, the better that is. Yeah, that's okay. I'm just a little irritated. Cursed enemies killed by you or your allies in your presence have a 35% chance to explode, dealing quarter of their. That is awesome. That is awesome. Blasphemy and this. Blasphemy and this would be awesome. And then you can also add this to it, which would make it even better. Additional 3% of maximum energy shield. Non-channeling spells deal 30% more damage. That's actually pretty good. Spending energy shield does not interrupt recharge. Yeah, that's actually pretty nice. Ooh. Non-channeling spells consume power charges to deal 25% more damage. So if we start doing power charges, that would be nice. This one is 10% of damage taken by energy shield. 10% damage taken bypasses energy shield. No inherent mana regeneration. Regenerate mana equal to 6% of life per second. It sucks. 3%. Your life cannot change while you have energy shield. So my question is, if I take this and I take that, as long as I have energy shield, then I can't take bleed, I can't take corrupted blood or any of that, because those actually go against your hit points. And as long as I got energy shield at any time, my hit points won't drop. Oh, hold up. Can this be abused? Hold up. I think I can abuse this. It really depends. It really depends. Look at this. It says your life cannot change while you have energy shield. Now, what they should say is your life cannot change while you have energy shield protecting your life. Because what if I throw that over in Eldritch Battery? I still have energy shield, right? And as long as I'm casting spells and I'm not losing energy shield to the point, am I invulnerable? Can I not die? Because when somebody slams and hits me, it's not going to hit my energy shield. It's going to hit my life. And this says your life cannot change while you have energy shield. They have to clarify that. They have to clarify that. This is a huge abuse situation. This is a huge abuse situation. I mean, let's think about that. I mean, that's crazy. That could be really good. Just go in, boom, boom, grab this one, then grab that one. This one would be useless anyway. No inherent mana regeneration. Regenerate mana equal to 6% of your life per second. Yeah, so this one, in this part, 10% of damage taken bypasses energy shield. If I use Eldritch Battery, goes to the other side. This one, then what happens is as long as I'm casting and I don't lose my energy shield to 0, then I can't take no damage and I'm immortal. Abuse situation, but I know this is going to say, hey, as long as energy shield is protecting my health, then I can have eternal life. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to prevent us from having prevent us from going CI and going CI, because you can use this and get the effects of CI without having CI. That's actually pretty nice. Let's see here. What else is there? Amazon Ascendancy nodes. I don't like the Amazon. Why would I want the Amazon? I want to look at the Huntress. That's the Huntress Ascendancy skills. Oh, that's not it either. So the Huntress gameplay. Oh well, they don't have it. Let's go to this one. The Ritualist. Okay, so from what it looks like, guys, and I'm just going ahead and call it out. What it looks like the Huntress is going to be the one that I want to play after the Lich. After the Lich. Because as long as I get the Huntress, the Lich is going to be the Lich Ascendancies is going to be the one. What do you want to play? You want to play the Amazon or the I think I only had the Amazon. Oh, the Tactician. That's the Tactician. No, the Ritualist. Ritualist is the one with the +1 ring. So +1 charm slot, +1 ring. Is it worth it though? Is it worth it? Well, 25% increase bonuses gained from your rings. That's actually pretty nice. So that actually is pretty nice there. Ritual sacrifice gives all buffs from one monster for 25 seconds. So Headhunter, yeah, you get the Headhunter configuration. I saw that inside the video, where they picked it up and they kind of they sacrificed the creature, and then they got one of the things and was running around with like the bubble and some other stuff. That actually looked pretty nice too. See, but then the question is, ooh, that's good, but you have to sacrifice. And that's my problem with that. Okay? And what I mean by that, Street, is the following. I'm running through the map. I kill something. I sacrifice. I got to bend down, sacrifice. Takes however long it takes, 2-3 seconds. Boom. I get the big buff. I run through the map. I'm trying to kill more stuff. Buff drops. There have been rares that I have killed, but because there's creatures attacking me and trying to beat me up, I now have to, I can't sit down and bend down to sacrifice another guy so that I can get his buff. Because it looked like in the video it took too long. It seems really cool. Don't get me wrong. It seems really cool, but I don't think it's going to be that it'll be that awesome because it takes too long. So you know, that's where I was like, cool, but not worth it. Ritual sacrifice does sound like it'll be good. We'll have to look at it to see if it becomes instant. Because if it's an instant thing, then hey, that's not a problem. That's a headhunter in a minute. But if it ain't instant and you have to take some time to cast time to do the ritual so that you can get the buff, it's not as powerful as I think it would be. But that's that's just the way I'm looking at it. It's like 1.5 seconds on the video. Yeah. So to me, that's cool, but not enough for me to go ahead and run this particular ascendancy. Because then I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, I can't get that. I gotta stop. It might scale with cast speed, but then the question is, can we get it low enough so that it won't be a problem? If you could get it to be instant, that would be different. Yeah, this is actually, if you go this one, you have to get the ring +1 ring, and you have to get this. To me, those are like the two things that you must get. So you have to spend 4 points automatically in Ritualist, Mystic Attunement, and Unfurled Finger. Those are the two things you have to get in this one. Now, my question is, what is Blood Boil? What's the damage Blood Boil does? We know what Blood Boil is. They showed it in the video where he killed you. You're attacking creatures and they get these bleeding boils on them and everything like that. So I understand that one. That's not a problem. It's just how much. And then charm slot. Nah, this last one I wouldn't do. It's possible, but I wouldn't do it. All right, guys. It was good being online, talking to you guys. I've definitely liked communication. Sorry about being missing. Sorry about the upgrades. Upgrades kind of messed up my machine. I'm going to go ahead and get off here because I got to go use the bathroom and do some other things. But I will be back on. I'm going to try to get back on. I'm going to be back on tomorrow morning. Let's just be honest. I'll be back on tomorrow morning. I do have somebody coming over here at 9 o'clock to take care of my daughter's hair. She's going to be doing some hair things, getting her hair done. And then after that, I'm going to be playing during that whole time. We can go through some more stuff. I am actually really tired. Job has been draining me so much that I'm just tired these days. So catch y'all later. Peace out. And I hope this has helped you in your quest to become a lich, because let's just be honest. You want to be a lich. You don't want to do anything else. The lich ascendancy is by far one of the best. It's the lich and then second huntress. Lich, huntress. That's it. That's all we need. Talk to y'all later. Peace out. Have a good one.